Okay, children, let us move ahead with the explanation. I will be explaining from page number 16. Now, children, we had read that the Tiger King, he was a symbolic character. He was popularly known as the Tiger King, and the name was highly symbolic. Now, through the name, Kalki satirizes and criticizes all those who misuse their power and position to fulfill their selfish interest. This I have already explained to you all, children. The king even entered the institution of marriage because for him it was a business proposition. He manipulates it to serve his own end. So he manipulates everything, he manipulates to serve his own end. Children, we can call the king, the Maharaja Jang Bahadur, an eccentric character. To prove the prophecy wrong and to establish his control over his destiny, he mindlessly kills the tigers. But destiny had some other plans for him. Now, what happens at the end, children? We will read and find out. Okay, let us continue with the reading. A few days later, the Maharaja's son's third birthday was celebrated. Until then, Maharaja had given his entire mind over to tiger hunting. He had had no time to spare for the crown prince, but now the king turned his attention to the child. Now, he had already announced that once I am done with my tally of 100 tigers, I shall give up tiger hunting completely. And now he turned all his attention to the crown prince. For him, he had killed that 100th tiger. Okay, so now what did he do? He turned his attention to the crown prince, or to his son. He wished to give him some special gift on his birthday. He went to the shopping center in Pratibandhapuram and searched every shop, but couldn't find anything suitable. Finally, he spotted a wooden tiger in a toy shop and decided it was the perfect gift. He wanted to give something very special to his son, and so he went from one shop to another but could not find anything suitable. Now see, children, there was a deep connection between the Tiger King, Maharaja Jang Bahadur, and tigers. So, when he spotted that wooden tiger in the shop, in the toy shop, he immediately got attracted to it. And what did he decide? He decided that it was the perfect gift. Okay, now very important paragraph. Please keep underlining, children. The wooden tiger cost only 2 annas and a quarter. But the shopkeeper knew that if he quoted such a low price to the Maharaja, he would be punished under under the rules of the emergency. Now see, the wooden tiger which was there in the toy shop, children, it was not costly at all. But the shopkeeper, he quoted a much higher price. Now the shopkeeper knew that Maharaja liked the toy, but he also knew that if the actual worth of the toy he would quote, the king would feel insulted and think it below his status to buy such a cheap gift for his son. Try to understand here, okay? So, and the shopkeeper also knew that people, in power, they think that to like anything below their standard would reduce their level. So what did the shopkeeper do, children? Quite smartly, the shopkeeper quoted a much higher price, calling the toy a rare piece of craftsmanship. Means it was something very unique, just one piece created. Okay, so he said that it is a rare piece of craftsmanship. Now this trick helped. And how did it help? It appealed to the ego of the king. Now, appealed to the ego of the king means it pampered the ego of the king to have found something very exclusive for his son. Now, he was in search of something exclusive, and finally, when he saw that wooden tiger in the toy shop, he got attracted. And the shopkeeper also, played very smart. And finally, he was successful in appealing to the ego of the king. He pampered his ego, and the king was also satisfied. So what did he say? It's a bargain at 300 rupees. I'll give it to you for 300 rupees. Very good. Let this be your offering to the crown prince on his birthday. Now, what did the king say? That okay, it's my son's birthday. Let this be a gift from your side to my son. Said the king, and took it away from him. He said this and he took the wooden tiger away. On that day, father and son played. Please keep underlining, children. On that day, father and son played with that tiny little wooden tiger. Okay, so the father and the son, what were they doing? They continued to play with the wooden tiger. The whole day they were playing. So the father and son, they were spending time with each other. It had been carved by an unskilled carpenter. Please keep underlining. Its surface was rough. Tiny silvers of wood stood up like quills all over it. Now, because it was carved by an unskilled carpenter, not very skillful, he was not very good at his art. So, it had sharp edges. It was not polished, it was not plain. And there were tiny silvers, quills. Porcupines, they have quills on their body. So the silvers, they were protruding from the toy. Now, one of those silvers pierced the Maharaja's right hand. He pulled it out with his left hand and continued to play with the prince. Now, what happened, children? One of the quills, it pierced the fingers, the right hand of the Maharaja. He was successful in pulling it out, but what happened the next day? An infection flared in the Maharaja's right hand. There was an infection that appeared in the Maharaja's right hand. In 4 days, it developed into a spirating sore. So it was filled with pus. Okay, there was a pus, there was an infection all over the arm, and it was spreading all over the arm. 3 famous surgeons who performed it. Now, again, very, very important lines of the chapter, children. Now, this part contains the irony, it contains satire, and it also contains the anticlimax. Now, climax means ending. Anticlimax means we readers did not expect such an ending. So, let's see what it is. 3 famous surgeons were brought in from Madras. After holding a consultation, they decided to operate. The operation took place. The 3 surgeons who performed it came out of the theatre and announced, "The operation was successful, the Maharaja is dead." So please underline, the operation was successful, but the Maharaja is dead. Now, this incident is a satire, children. It is a satire on the life of the rich and the powerful. Okay, let me just complete it and then again I'll come on to the explanation of satire and irony, children. In this manner, the 100th tiger took its final revenge upon the Tiger King. See, children, this is anticlimax. Okay, now somewhere in our mind we had this, that directly or indirectly the 100th tiger was killed, isn't it? So we readers did not expect that the Tiger King or Maharaja Jang Bahadur would meet such a fate. But it's written here, in this manner, the 100th tiger took its final revenge. So it was, the death was brought about by a tiger. So like I told you that destiny is all powerful. You cannot overturn your destiny. So whatever was written in his fate, it happened. Okay. Now let's come back to this line, children. The surgeons, who performed it came out of the theatre and announced, the operation was successful, the Maharaja is dead. Now I told you that this is a satire. Because in the life of the rich and the powerful, children, everything is grand. May it be the disease, may it be in what they purchase, and even their treatment. Okay, so here it concerns the treatment. So when the Maharaja was hurt by the wooden tiger, special surgeons were flown from Madras to treat him. Okay, they discussed, they debated, and finally operated, and at the end declared that the operation was successful and the Maharaja was dead. Now what does it mean? It appeared that the procedure was more important to them and life had no meaning, isn't it? Now this is satire, children. That they paid more attention in highlighting the technical excellence of the surgical procedure. Their actual job was not to highlight the technical excellence of the surgical procedure, but to save the king's life, isn't it? What is the foremost duty of a doctor? To save someone's life. But here, what do we see? They were highlighting their technical excellence of the surgical procedure. However, it is as if by divine justice that the Tiger King was reduced to non-entity, right? So life had no meaning. The life of the Tiger King or the Maharaja Jang Bahadur, he was reduced to non-entity. Non-entity means whose life had no importance to anyone. Okay, so it is a satire, children, that rather than trying to save the life of the king, they were trying to highlight their technical procedure, their technical excellence and their surgical procedure. And they paid no attention and gave no importance to even the king. And hence this is satire. Okay, children, even the death, okay, let's come to the irony, children. Now, if I say that the Tiger King's death is ironical, or in other words, I can say that how did the 100th tiger take its revenge? Now, 100th tiger over here, it was just said a tiger. This was not mentioned whether a live tiger would be responsible or a wooden tiger. It was just said in the prophecy that he would be killed by the 100th tiger. So this is again an irony contained, children. Now the Tiger King had spent his entire lifetime in killing live and ferocious tigers, isn't it? Flesh and blood. The tigers made of flesh and blood, live, ferocious tigers. However, ironically, in the end, His death came from a lifeless, wooden and harmless toy tiger, children. Please pay attention to it. At the end, his death came from a lifeless, wooden and harmless toy tiger, that too made by an unskilled craftsman. So the death of the king was thus ironic and an anticlimax. Anticlimax I have already explained. We did not expect such an ending because we readers thought directly or indirectly that 100th tiger was killed, isn't it? This goes on to prove that one cannot overturn one's destiny. So this is the irony, the anticlimax. Okay, children, if I talk about the message that is contained in the story, you can just write down what is the message contained, children. First of all, that one that we have just discussed, that it is impossible to overturn one's destiny. Okay. Second important message or theme that is contained could be, blind belief in astrology. It can lead to illogical and irrational decisions. Now, this is also an important theme, that if you blindly believe in astrology, it will definitely lead to some irrational, illogical decisions. Like here, the Tiger King went on a hunting spree. He became completely obsessed with tiger killing. Also, one more theme we can talk about is that politicians and people in power, they are self-centered. Okay, they are self-centered. So these are the three main themes around which the story revolves, children. Children, see, it's pure literature, and to appreciate the style of Kalki, it is much required to understand these literary devices. They heighten the effect of his writing. And this is his style. This is Kalki's style, children. You will be able to appreciate what he has written only if you understand these literary devices. They play a very important role to heighten the effect and to make the story more appealing. Please go through this video lesson again, and if there is any doubt, please feel free to ask. Thank you, class.